Hello everyone, and welcome back to the events videos for Let's Play Prototype. This is not a good place to be appearing when you load up your game. At all. Right next to a hive? Especially with the hunters around, they're just gonna go straight after you. But with that said, we're deep in the infected territory. And apparently all by its lonesome is this little consume event for the military, because the rest of the events are further south. We have another fair variety with a kill event, war, another consume event, infected, and also a movement event, which is good to see, because it's been a while. But anyway, since it's the closest, we might as well get this consume event out of the way. Now, one thing about this consume event is it kind of is a good example of all the horrible things that can happen, because chances are, because we're in this dangerous area, hunters and other enemies will probably get to this guy before you do. That being said, this guy is handy because of scientist hunts. You probably noticed there that, well, the reason we're doing this is to consume enough scientists in order to reveal Karen Parker's location. I may not have mentioned that last time. I think we saw it before, but I didn't say anything. And I honestly have enough time in order to get rid of this hunter. Because, well, the area where the scientists are is just on the other side of this block. There are other locations in order to take care of, like, get your target consume guy in order to get this event, but, well, it's good when you're closer. Now, this hunt is a bit of an annoyance because, of course, it does show off how random and unpredictable hostile areas can be. So, the ideal situation is that you want to get rid of the defenders first, if at all possible, because they're going to be the ones who are going to spook your scientists. And also, don't bring the infected back here, because they will also spook them as well. Make them run out into traffic and get themselves killed in a myriad of ways. Otherwise, they're going to be doing this synchronized scanning dance right over here. So yeah, this event can be a bit of an annoyance, as I do show off by punching everything afterwards, because I'm glad it's done. So yeah, a lot of the times, scientists can come out here, and here's the tank that gives endless trouble because of how incredibly stupid it is. Mostly the tank will just fire rapidly and randomly in all directions, blow stuff up, and even run over the scientists because they also get in the way. But that's done. Now, our next event might as well be the other consume event, just to get it out of the way, before it moves to another location. And this consume event target is actually in a familiar spot. We had some trouble getting this guy beforehand because we kept getting blown up. And you also know that this, as this guy's praise, it's no longer infected, so it's just a random guy sitting around. Which makes the other people around either freak out, start groveling, or not pay attention to the fact that there's an infected person just roaming around. There's really not much to say about this point in terms of hive destruction. I have a feeling that we're not going to be seeing much of variety in terms of this kind of consume event, so these hunters give me nothing but trouble. And I don't like this hive either, so flying kick! I have explosive shoes and huge muscles. I should be able to explode buildings in this game. Alright, well, other than that, there's a big, huge, giant mess as a missile flies by. Could have knocked me over. I need more creative ways of taking down hives.
Red Crown, this is Echo 7 Bravo.
Anyway, I'll deal with the situation soon enough, and let's get on with the rest of the events. Wasn't sure, but let's get this one out of the way. Knuckle-Dragger, and there's a big reason why I want to get this out of the way first. Oh, Knuckle-Dragger. And yeah, helicopter, go away, you don't see me. So, I mentioned earlier that Irony is my least favorite tank-related kill event. Knuckle-Dragger is my least favorite power-related kill event. And here is why. One, we're using the Hammer Fist. Two, the military personnel that we are always marked upon are regular dudes. They give 1 point apiece, and if you are not good at doing that first initial point and getting at least 7 to 10 points out of that, then you might as well start over. Because you don't have a lot of time to do this event. You only have a minute. The third thing is that the Hammer Fist is extremely slow. Slow enough that if you're right next to some military guy and you're swinging around rapidly, chances are they'll have enough time before your swing connects to get out of the way, and you'll just be wasting precious time. The slowness of the Hammer Fist really just kind of takes away how fast you can be in terms of your damage and points per second that you can get out of this. So overall, usually this is how well I do on this event. Most of the time I can't even get gold, sadly enough. So it does take a multitude of tries in order to get this right. Now, in terms of more game-related business, another thing that's a problem with this event is the fact that tanks don't really spawn very well. It may just be because of the area that we're in and the blocks around it, but chances are tanks will spawn few and far between, and tanks are where you're going to get the majority of your points, because they give 10 points apiece. UAVs and other detectors only give 1 point apiece. And don't even try to... If there's a helicopter in the vicinity, don't even try to go for it, because at the point of doing this event, we don't really have the move in order to even attempt to get rid of aerial enemies. And even then, it's a crapshoot. But chances are, if you're going after tanks, because of the area that we're in, chances are they'll spawn on the edge of the area that we're in, and if we move slightly in the opposite direction, they'll most likely spawn, like despawn, before you realize that they're even there to begin with. Now, 57 is an exceptional score. Definitely all you need to do if you're doing this regularly, but of course, I'm not normal. Not at all. And because I'm not normal, it means that if I wanted to do any better, it means I had to, well, cheat a bit. And even cheating has its issues with it. Helicopters, if you're able to get them, do take 10 points, but they take too long. But I don't find that the Hammer Fist is powerful enough in order to take down the more stronger kinds of tanks. And I usually find that when I'm trying to take down a tank, tanks like these show up and steal my kill. Also, kicks don't work. You must use the hammer in order to get this down. So there's just kind of a lot of iffy issues with this. Not so much as your main opponent pretty much is the game not being kind in terms of what you're given and the slowness of the hammer fist. So if you're looking to get a good score, you're going to be doing this multitude of times, and it just doesn't make it fun. I don't find a lot of things that are really fun about this event, because it becomes more of a chore than anything. But yeah, 67 is way over the record that I wanted to set for myself. But I'm glad that is over with, much like Irony is done with.
Charlie Company, regroup, reform on Company HQ.
So yeah, finally done. Go away. No more military in this area ever, please. Thank you. We're even in a confliction zone here. But now that we're out of that, let's go on to a little bit of a better event. Stairway. And if you wanted to know, this is why it's called Stairway. It's a good position, honestly. Did that guy just appear out of nowhere? Huh. Anyway. So I kind of find a lot of similarities to Final Combat in this war event. Simply because you are dealing with a very small area, and Devastator attacks like this tend to kill the military allies as much as the infected people that you're supposed to be taking down. You start off this event 2 against 1 in terms of ratio. You start out with twice the amount of infected against the military allies. And, well, hunters can get all up in your business. In terms of strategy, you really have to make sure that the military are fighting against the hunters primarily, which makes this event go by a lot faster, and you can take down small fry of the regular infected, or the evolved infected. So in terms of this, it's a pretty simple war event. It's a little bit more difficult because you're kind of taking big risks in terms of using Devastator attacks. But there is one more issue with this war event, and it's the introduction of, well, one of our recently new introduced enemies. Yes, there are leader hunters in this war event. Oh boy, that's so much fun. They're going to be the biggest issue that you're going to have because, well, taking down leader hunters is not a matter of speed. You really have to be patient, but in terms of time limits and what you're trying to do, you're going to be short for time. I'm stuck in a corner. But when you are able to get them down low enough, you can consume them and then have a Devastator handy. In order to get them down quick enough, save your Devastators for the leader hunters, because they take down a large chunk of the health in order to get them down. And with the final one, don't even bother with consuming it, because that takes time away. Precious seconds. So Stairway is ultimately just a big, huge challenge, and it's a great challenge, actually. 2 minutes is very decent. However, I can make this faster, but I need a couple more upgrades that we don't have just yet. So I'll probably be coming back to this a little bit later. His leg is wiggling. Hey, there goes the infected. Did I also mention that regular traffic seems to still keep going even though there's tons of crap going on? Anyway, let's get out of this area and head over to the next movement event. I like that a lot of the events have actual reasons for what they're called. Among the clouds is going to involve some high altitude movement challenge. In order to do well at this movement event, you have to be able to keep your altitude. That is key here. Now, it's a bit more difficult when you don't have a lot of upgrades at this point, because I think at this point you're actually able to max out the movement ability entirely, including the jump sprint, and have also the second air dash boost. I don't have a lot of those, so it's going to take a number of tries if you're at this point in terms of upgrades like I am. Because waypoints are really spread apart, and this is where the challenge mainly comes in. You're going to be wasting a lot of time if you lose a lot of your altitude. And it's at this final waypoint that a lot of your time is going to be eaten away. Time your air dash and glides successfully, and you should be able to get up to this one in roughly this time. A little under a minute. 58 seconds is pretty fantastic for the level of movement abilities that I have at this point. I could do a lot faster, and I will plan to do a lot faster, because the movement events I'm going to have to come back to after I've unlocked everything in terms of movements, because I'm a little behind. And anyway, that is it for this event group. Oh, so good to be done, Knuckle-Dragger. But I'll see you next time, everyone, as we continue on, unlock some more events, hopefully get some increases to our abilities in order to make some events a little bit easier in the future. See you next time, everyone.